Good evening. I'm Anchorpete, and we are coming at you live on Sunday night, right after we watched Mare of Easttown. I'm with my wife, Shari T. How you doing tonight, Shari?
I'm good.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. And happy Mother's Day to everyone who's watching. And happy Mother's Day to Mare.
Oh, boy. She's had a lot of fun as a mother, hasn't she?
Wow.
Yeah. Guys, as you know, during our Mare of Easttown discussion, we go right into spoilers. So if you haven't watched tonight's episode, please go to HBO Max and watch it, then come join us. But yeah, that's actually a scene I wanted to get to pretty quickly. We can get into all the murder mystery stuff, but that scene bothered me a lot. The scene with Mare and her son, Kevin.
Yeah, we found out some things we didn't know about her relationship with Kevin, some things about Kevin himself. We knew that his girlfriend was a junkie. I didn't know. I guess I didn't realize that he also was, but of course, maybe that goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
I had no idea how he had treated his mother.
Yeah, it looks like Kevin and his girlfriend both were junkies, like you were saying, and they both had mental illness as well. And he was very intense in this one scene with Mare. They were going through her stuff. He was screaming at her. He screamed right in her face, "I hate you." And Mare seemed pretty meek in that scene, right?
I think her heart's probably broken seeing her son act that way and treating her that way. I can't imagine. I did notice that she was cleaned up more.
Yeah, she was.
Even though she was getting kind of screamed at by her son, she was more cleaned up.
Yeah.
Her hair wasn't, she didn't need quite the dye job that she always does. She's been taking better care of herself. So it gave me the impression that she's gone downhill, of course, since his suicide, which, I guess isn't a surprise, but they made that clear in the way she looked.
Yeah. And that kind of reminded me of that scene, right, where she was with the counselor and she's saying, we're not going to have this breakthrough kind of moment. It's not, she goes to see a counselor and she's kind of giving a disclaimer up front, hey, I'm not really going to be able to deal with this or that I'm not going to change, right? And
she just doesn't expect any results.
Yeah.
She doesn't really believe that she can be helped through therapy.
Yeah.
Or maybe at all.
Yeah, and so she's kind of gotten used to this life, and she said up front to the counselor, my son died. I've been through this kind of stuff before with my husband, my ex-husband, right?
She said they had been to marriage counseling.
Yeah. And then the counselor's like, how'd that go? And she's like, well, we're divorced. Yeah. So that scene with the counselor, and then also the scene with the daughter, when the daughter's talking to her new girlfriend, there's a lot of alluding to the fact that, this family has just gone through the ringer. And I guess what you're saying is that we saw like how it affected Kate Winslet physically.
Yeah. There's a physical decline in her appearance. And the daughter talks about, the daughter Siobhan, we get a little bit more insight into how she felt about it. She says the family fell apart. She's telling her new girlfriend.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about the title? And we jumped right into it. We're
a
little excited.
And we didn't get into the murder mystery stuff at all yet either. But yeah, let's talk about the title, because I think that we're a little confused about the title, right? The title's called Poor Sisyphus, right? I'm sure it has some significance. With Sisyphus, he was a mortal that the gods in Greek mythology punished, and they had him push a boulder up a hill, and then it would roll down the hill, and he'd have to just push it up the next day. So it's just this kind of futile task on a daily basis. That was his punishment, just pushing it all the way up to the top. And so do you think that Mare is Sisyphus?
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, is she on a futile task? I mean, she actually got some police work done here.
Yeah.
Despite not being employed currently by the police, she did a good job. I thought she was. I like how she says in this episode, "Teenage girls are fucking sneaky." I thought she was sneaky in this episode, and I like that.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one thing I wanted to talk about. And then people in the comments. One thing, you guys have been doing an awesome job leaving comments after the episode when we do it live. I'd love to hear you guys take on this, right? Why did she tell Zabel, I have to go back to get my phone, and then she went back and asked them about the diaries or the journals?
Because if he knew about the journals, he would use his search warrant to get the journals for the police.
So it's just because she wants to have her own kind of private investigation. She doesn't want the rest of the department getting involved?
I think just because she can't be involved with the department, this is her only choice if she wants to be involved. She has to do it solo. She's not if he seizes the journals, she's out, right?
Okay.
She can't see him. They go to the department. It's professional police work being done, and she's not part of that anymore. So this way she can kind of be involved.
Okay.
I mean, not kind of. She will be solely involved.
I see. So it's like keeping her in play. And she found that one necklace too, right? That had that date on it.
Yeah.
I wonder what the significance of that is.
Yeah, well, that's going to be important probably.
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially a heart-shaped locket type necklace.
Yeah.
I've talked about Twin Peaks, so that's very important in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, and you know what? You have mentioned Twin Peaks and you've compared it, and then you've also mentioned The Killing. And these are all kind of from the same cloth. They're just sort of done differently, right? All different styles. And so there is a thread that goes through all of them, right? Besides the fact that it's a young girl being murdered.
Okay.
There's that, isn't it that prostitution is involved in all three? The first season of The Killing, Twin Peaks, and this?
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
I'm not sure if it's prostitution in the first season of The Killing, but I think it is. And then in Twin Peaks, it absolutely is with the lodge, not the lodge, the One-Eyed Jacks.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, and it is prostitution in The Killing.
It is?
Yeah, well, the main girl who's murdered.
Yeah.
Her name's Rosie Larson. She was dabbling in prostitution.
Yeah, so that's one thing that's connecting The Killing, Twin Peaks, and this, right? And I'm sure there's actually even more shows like this.
Right.
You know, Twin Peaks had such a big impact. I think everything's kind of influenced by Twin Peaks. And then this is once again like that too, where it's like, look how this murder of this innocent seeming girl affects this whole town where everyone knows each other, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, do you think that the killer is targeting people that are connected to this side door prostitution ring?
Well, do we think the two girls who we see in this episode have been kidnapped, right? Do we think their kidnapping is related to the murder of Erin?
Okay, so guess what? I have my theory on Erin's murder. I do think it is related. You want me? Should I just like kind of get my theory out there?
Sure, put it out there.
Okay. So check it out, guys. In this episode, there's that scene with the little boy, the child of the Rosses, right?
Right, who we've never seen before.
Right.
We're talking about Lori Ross, who is Mare's best friend, and
Yeah.
she's cuddled up in bed with her husband, and their little boy comes in and watches the TV screen with them.
Yeah.
Which is just talking about the three girls.
Yeah. So he's just kind of staring right at the screen, and it's real suspicious. Kind of lingers on him, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that he killed Erin, but I think that he might be connected. You ready for this? You want to know why?
Okay, why?
I got this theory that maybe Erin finally goes to go do her prostitution thing, and she goes and it's with a kid that's too young, and he's the friend of the kid, and they kill her and dump the body. And I bet you that friend is that creepy kid that we were talking about in our last episode. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That did the graffiti?
That did the graffiti. That's my theory.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many possibilities. That is one. I kind of like your theory of the other priest being involved better.
Okay, yes.
I'm going to think about your little boy theory because there's definitely something up
How
with
he's
that little
lingering.
boy. Yeah, like how it lingered on him and how they wanted to make sure we saw him looking. And I'm going to bring up a whole nother thing, which reminds me also of the show, which is Mystic River, the movie.
Oh, yeah, Mr. River, yeah.
And sorry if this spoils it for anyone. If you don't want to hear about what happens in the mystery of Mystic River, please go away right now. But in Mystic River, she is killed by a young boy. Maybe you don't remember. Anyway, Sean Penn's daughter. It's all about his daughter being murdered and who did it. And
I remember like Tim Robbins. I thought Tim Robbins did it.
Right, that's who they pin it on, but it's actually this young boy who did it. Okay. He hit her in the head with like it's awful. It's awful. Anyway, a hockey stick. Anyway,
that's messed up.
Yeah, you haven't seen it?
No, I did see it a long time ago.
Okay, and it's also like a Boston accent.
Yeah,
kind of reminds me of the show. Anyway, so that makes me think of that. I can't help it. Like, can anything be original anymore? It's all inspired by something else.
Yeah.
But that little boy thing makes me think of Mare of Easttown at this point.
Yeah. So the little boy, right? It's definitely suspicious, and it lingered on him. So it could be that he had a younger friend, and like they go to.
Could have been him.
It could have been him. I don't know. We'll see. But the guy that kidnapped these two girls. Well, okay. First off, let's try to unpack this. do you think the guy that has now kidnapped 2 girls that are both connected to that side door, do you think that's the same person that killed Erin?
I do not.
You do not. Okay.
I think murdering someone is different than a kidnapping.
Okay.
I mean, of course it's different, but they seem like 2 different kinds of crimes, 2 different perpetrators to me.
Okay, so maybe in the end they're gonna save those 2 girls, and they're also gonna uncover who killed Erin. That's by that last episode, which there's only 3
I should
left.
hope so. This show needs to solve those problems. Yeah, I think that's what the show's here for.
Okay.
I just think that Mare's got 2 problems on her hands. Someone who's kidnapping young prostitutes, and we'll find out what he's doing with them. He's kept apparently Katie Bailey imprisoned for a year.
Yeah.
Probably like rapes them repeatedly in this room, which is horrible. Which is also in a tavern. Have we seen that tavern before?
I don't think so. And I wonder if we've seen that truck too, right? Because there's that truck.
I thought it was a van.
Oh, van, and it's got like the ladders on the top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know if we've seen that tavern before. They've definitely had drinks in several places. I can't remember if it's been this specific tavern or if we even know where they've had drinks. But they prominently show the name of the tavern, and this guy has access to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of 2 things, right? Either it's like this sort of abandoned tavern that he's using that you can't hear it outside if someone's screaming, or they're in a room that has like some real solid soundproofing, and it's a place that people go in, right?
Yeah, how horrific to have people out partying and having drinks while you're kidnapped and locked in a room and you can hear, I don't know, whatever, it's just awful.
Well, so I was going to ask that to you though, Shari, too, is like, this kind of feels topical, right? Because wasn't it like a year ago or maybe 2 years ago where there was these like 2 women that were held prisoner by this guy, right? For like over a year or something like that. And then they escaped. Remember that story where like the neighbors heard stuff? Maybe the neighbor called. You know what I'm talking about?
I know the famous story that I was obsessed with, and this was longer ago, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, was the 3 girls in Ohio who the guy locked them down in his basement. And he actually had them for like 10 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they had to compare their situation to prisoners of war because there isn't really situations like that. Usually when girls get kidnapped, they're killed.
Yeah.
So like to keep someone prisoner that long, it's so much worse than just a kidnapping or rape.
Yeah.
Maybe worse than a murder. I don't know. It depends how you would view the situation. But yeah, I mean, there are people who hold hostages, I guess, and keep them.
Yeah. And so
I feel like we're so all over the place because a lot happens in these episodes.
No, we're not all over the place because we're kind of going through our suspects, and we're also talking about, we just said, is it the guy the same killer? Is it the same person? We're saying that it's not.
I just don't think so. Erin wasn't kidnapped. You know, she could have been if it was that guy. Why wouldn't he have kidnapped her and locked her in this room?
Right.
You know, something else happened with Erin.
Right. And so I think that in a few minutes, I'm going to talk about who I think my primary suspects are. But of course, we're going to talk about why the thumbnail for this episode of us talking is Red Herring Alert. We're going to talk about that too. But before I get to that, I was going to say this also reminds me of another book that you really loved, which you liked the movie too, I think, which was it called Boy? Right, the one with like Brie Larson, right, where she's...
It's called Room.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's a fucking movie called Boy too, but Room. Isn't that like a story where the girl's been kidnapped for like years? And
and she's locked in a room.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was an influence on this too, you think?
I didn't think of it, but I guess it's possible.
Yeah.
Room's very much about how she has a baby from her kidnapper and about how she's trying to raise this child despite this horrible situation.
Okay. So,
really, really good book.
I kind of thought about that, and I thought about that real life story that you mentioned. So, all right, Shari, so let's talk about why the thumbnail says Red Herring Alert, okay? And then we'll go over our suspects at the very end, okay?
Okay.
So the reason why we chose Red Herring Alert is because so much of this episode was about Dawn trying to get $5,000 to give this potential kidnapper, so that he could release Katie.
Yeah, she's getting these phone calls from someone telling her to bring the money and he'll show her where Katie is.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Did you for a second think that the kidnapper was legit?
The guy on the phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. What threw me off was, again, a red herring, because in last week's, like, what do you call it when they show what's going to happen next week?
Yeah, like upcoming or whatever.
Yeah, they showed a girl banging on the wall. You know, so I was like, they are going to find her.
Yeah.
And in this episode, we do see what's happening to Katie.
Yeah,
so it's maybe not a complete red herring, but it's not the way you think it's going. It's not exposed the way you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's not exposed because Dawn brings money to a guy on the phone and gets her daughter.
Yeah.
It doesn't go down that way.
Yeah, and she goes to this like kind of creepy abandoned house. I feel like we've seen that house a few times in the kind of shows we watch on HBO, like The Outsider. She creeps on in.
It was scary.
It was scary, yeah. I knew that someone was going to like hit her from behind, and they did. And it turns out that it was
Freddie
Stamon or whatever.
Freddie, who appears in the first episode, that Mare has this kind of like talk to calm him down. So he's back.
Yeah.
Trying to get money for his drug habits. We're seeing a lot of people with drug habits on this show.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, in general, it just shows the kind of vices and problems that people have in this like kind of small town area, you know? And yeah, drugs are a major part of it. I mean, there's a lot that happened in this episode too.
Yeah, and I feel like they focused a lot on characters that we haven't previously focused very much on. There's a lot about Dawn.
Right.
We saw Beth again a lot more from the first episode.
Yes.
There's more focus on the mom and the daughter.
And yeah, well, that was kind of a comedic kind of like scene.
What?
The whole thing with the daughter and the mom, Jean Smart, the mom, right? Mare's mom. Like first off,
Helen.
Yeah, like there's this whole scene where she goes to get like a quart of Haagen-Dazs out of the freezer, and she's got it like in a vegetable bag. And that's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's cute.
It made me laugh. And she goes to eat it, and friggin' someone knocks on the door. I know what that's like.
Yeah, you're just trying to enjoy your damn snack.
And then it's the girlfriend Becca, who we didn't mention in our last episode, but remember she got like so high on edibles that she like threw up that last episode.
Yeah.
So she's there, and she's like, I want to get back with Siobhan.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was such a funny sequence where like they're like making out, Siobhan and her new girlfriend, and then the girl's in the basement with her headphones on, right? And then when she runs out, she like hits the grandmother right in the face. That was messed up.
Yeah, there was it doesn't mean anything probably, but I just noticed that there were two instances of older women getting hit in the face in this episode. I don't know what's up with that. There was Dawn who like runs into some metal thing that's in that barn, which clearly like runs into it and hits her face, and then poor Helen gets slammed in the face with the door. Yeah,
she just wanted to eat her Haagen-Dazs, and here she is getting a concussion, right?
Yeah, maybe she's Sisyphus. Poor Sisyphus.
Oh yeah, maybe that's trying to get her family back together.
Yeah, it's a futile effort for her to try to enjoy her snack. Not in this household. Anyway,
and
so
we'll see, and it could be the daughter too is Sisyphus, right? Because the daughter makes this point that like she's essentially trying to keep her family together because her family fell apart, and it just kind of seems like her family is going to fall apart again, right?
Mm-hmm. So, like a really good title will refer to multiple things,
right,
you know?
Right.
We don't get as much Mare as we have in the past. What we do have is kind of a fun conundrum where she actually has two men asking her out on Saturday night.
Oh boy!
And I'm envious. Who would you go out with? I like the two guys.
Sure, I totally pick Zabel, like hands down.
I know we all would. I think.
Yeah. Guys, in the comments, tell us who you pick. I mean, Guy Pearce is nothing but charming, right? But he's just kind of there. Yeah.
And he admits that he's teaching and feels like a failure, and they make a little joke about how she's catching him on his way down.
Yeah. Zabel's young and virile. Come on.
Zabel lives with his mom.
He's real positive. Come on. So some of us did, and until we moved to Texas.
Yeah. We find out more about Zabel in this episode. We find out that he lives with his mom. We meet his mom. He seems like a good, dutiful son.
Yeah. That's more common in the Northeast. People living with their parents till they like move out and get married and stuff. You can live with your mom. It's all good.
Mare does live with her mom
too. She's her mom. There you go.
Okay, maybe they're match made in heaven.
Yeah.
But I see that Mare she gets a little smile when he like starts asking her about her plans on Saturday, and she alludes to her mom, but she's not sure who she's going out with on Saturday night.
Who's she gonna pick?
But she's going out Saturday night.
She had a little smirk, and you laughed when she had a little smirk on her face.
Because all week I have been thinking about Zabel's drunken scene in the bar from last week, and it's just made me happy when I think about it. Anyway, I really hope he's not the killer or anything, because I've grown to really like him. Right.
So essentially we have the killer of Erin, and then we have this kidnapper, because we're both on the opinion that it's two separate people, right?
Yeah.
Now, they've shown this kidnapper at least from the side, and I was looking closely at Zabel. I was like, okay, does he fit the description of this kidnapper, right? Because you see like dark hair and it's like, it's not like curly or anything, right? And it kind of matches his hair a little bit, but it definitely matches that priest's hair. The priest Mark. I don't remember his last name.
I just think it doesn't matter what little glimpse of the back of someone's head you see, because they're not going to give it away like that. They're not going to give it away like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to be a red herring. I mean, if you saw something dark, it's a dark calf.
No, it's definitely hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I don't think we're going to find out that way.
Okay. So, do you have other things that you want to talk about, or do you want to?
Well, we talked a lot about the priest suspects last week. What did we find out this week? Just he's continuing to lie. Deacon Mark continues to lie, continues to refuse to give up any information about what happened with him and this 14-year-old girl that caused a transfer. We know the Catholic Church is notorious for covering up crimes committed by priests. So saying nothing happened really isn't helpful. We can't really just take his word at that, of course. And again, he had Erin's bike, so he's definitely involved somehow. Yeah. I don't know if he's the one who killed her, but he showed up that night and helped her out.
Yeah.
Or picked her up or something.
Yeah.
But there is the questioning of him by the other priest, right? Yes. Who was your suspect last week. You've changed suspects this week.
Yes. Well, okay. So one person in our comments also was like, come on, it's clearly that other priest because he's got red hair and blue eyes, and the little baby has red hair and blue eyes. So I'm not ruling him out for the murderer of Erin, that priest, which is his name's Dan Hastings. Right.
Father Dan Hastings, who is Mare's cousin.
Right.
He's made an appearance in every episode.
Yeah.
I think that is interesting.
Yeah. And it's also like a red herring, or like kind of throwing you off track here, because he's seeming like a good guy who's like, I have to protect my parish. He's saying that in this episode. Where it's like, maybe I'm trying to dig things up to get the attention off of me, so people don't suspect me at all. They think it's you.
Yeah.
So he's still a major suspect, but I want to tell you, Shari, I have, besides him, I also still have the uncle too. Because if you saw in the coming up next week part at the end of this, they show that uncle again.
What uncle?
There's the Ross family, right? And we're talking about the little boy. We're talking about that little boy.
Lori's the best friend.
Right, Lori. So she's got her husband, and then he's got a brother, right?
Oh.
Right?
Yes, they showed on the coming up that's another person with a gun.
Right.
Remember a couple of filmings ago, we were talking about who has a gun?
Yeah.
Okay, we found out a couple more people have a gun. Dawn had a gun.
Yeah,
tonight.
She did have a gun. That's true.
She had a gun, and she had a lot of fake money in her bag.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cute. She didn't rob her store.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that too.
Yeah, she has morals. She couldn't do it. Anyway, Dawn has a gun, and we saw in the coming up that it looks like
the uncle.
Uncle.
Right, he's the uncle of Erin, right? Because he. Oh,
no, he's not.
He's the cousin of her dad. So whatever the hell that makes.
Right, we talked about this. We don't know what that's called. Anyway, that guy, the mustache, right?
So I'm telling you, he's a suspect. That priest is a suspect. The priest with the red hair, Hastings, and then maybe
something with that little boy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like. I think it's going to be like she saw 3 different people that night, and the final person is the one who kills her. But like, there's going to be like 3 people involved or something.
Which is very Twin Peaks.
Right? Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. So 2 last things, unless you want to add anything, but 2 last things before we wrap it up, right?
Okay.
I really like that scene with Dylan and DJ. It seemed like he was maybe going to like suffocate the kid with a pillow, but you didn't think that was going to happen, right?
I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I was feeling in that moment. I was worried.
Yeah, but he totally, at this point, knows that that's not his son, and that he's essentially been misled. While this kid is
and that happens in the beginning of the episode. We get the DNA results that neither Frank or Dylan are the father, so the father of the baby is still unknown.
Yeah. So he walks over. He's got this pillow. The kid's crying, and you think, oh, well, he might snuff the kid out. But instead, he's sitting there holding the kid. So
he picks him up and holds him.
That was a real touching scene.
Yeah. You see that Dylan has some good in him.
Yeah. So then my other thing for you guys, right? I'm hoping that you can, because you guys always have some good information in the comments. Dawn has a granddaughter, right? And she is talking about her mom liking broccoli. So I'm thinking, okay, that's Katie's daughter, right? Now, the kidnapper says Katie had a daughter named Grace, right? He says that.
Katie's daughter's middle name is Grace.
Oh, middle. Oh, okay. Who cares then? Then I got the answer. Then the middle name is Grace. Okay.
I think that's what he said.
Okay, because they called the daughter Kenzie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess her name's Kenzie Grace.
All right, guys. Who cares about what I just said then? Grace is the middle name. Gotcha. Thank you for solving that, Shari. Good thing it's not just
I'm a hero detective.
Oh, yeah. Good thing I'm not the only one on the show, right? So, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Just a little tidbit because I pay a little bit of attention to celebrity news.
Yes.
Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick, who have been married for a really long time and are a very cute Hollywood couple, have a daughter named Sosie Bacon. And I saw her name in the credits. And I was like, who's their daughter on Mare of Easttown? Who's their daughter playing? I looked it up and she is playing Carrie, the drug addict mom who wants to take Drew back. That's Kevin Bacon's daughter.
Oh, I could kind of see that. I
know. Once I saw it, I was like, yeah, she's kind of got the upturned nose like him. Anyway, fun fact.
Yeah, that is a cool fact. I was going to ask you, like, how did you feel about her when it was the scene of, like, her being miserable to Mare, like being so mean to Mare, and then, like, the next scene, she's kind of saying, I want to get my life on track. How'd you feel?
Well, I understood Mare a lot more. You know, last episode we were saying she did this despicable thing trying to frame Carrie. Well, now we understand a lot more where Mare's coming from, how she might not want this little sweet boy ending up in this woman's clutches, right? Yeah. Obviously, Carrie's trying to turn her life around and has changed for the better, and she seems like she's being pretty good with her son.
Yeah.
I guess it depends how much your capacity for belief in people's ability to change is.
Yeah.
She seems like she's changed for the better and she wants to be better.
Yeah. I mean, that in itself, just those two scenes next to each other, that's like a whole movie's worth of a subject right there. Just someone's burned you so badly, someone's treated you so badly when they were like essentially a junkie, and now they're like trying to reform or like be a better person.
Right, and you're tied to them because of the child that you're both related to. That's rough.
Yeah, it was really well done. I felt real bad for Mare in the flashback, and then I kind of empathized with the mom in the present day.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, it's a complicated situation, and no one's totally right or totally wrong.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Jean Smart from last week. She's the mom. She's going to get him.
Yeah.
But I kind of hope that Carrie wants to do joint custody or something, because Carrie does bring the child back. He can't sleep at her house. She can't help but admit that he's like more at home with you, Mare. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But she admits it and does the right thing for the little boy.
Right. She doesn't like abuse him or anything or like
force him. Right. Yeah. Right. So she brings him back, and that alone is a good sign that she's, doing better and putting her son's interests first.
Good point. Yeah. Yeah, good job. What's her name? Sosie Bacon?
Sosie Bacon.
Good job, Sosie. So yeah, that was cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. We really love when you guys comment, because you guys always bring something new to our discussion. And I think there's only 3 episodes left. So we will see you guys next time.
Good night.